3, 2, 1. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here at our second Living Wellness Live show. We're so excited that you're here with us this evening. My name is Ashley Darkenwald, and this is my dear friend and co-host, Christina Zaczkowski. We have a very special show for you tonight. Do you want to tell us a little bit about our guest tonight?
I would love to.
Thank you.
I worked so hard on it. We got personal trainer Amy Peterson. She's many other things, which we will find out in just a little bit. Chiropractor from St. Michael, Dr. John Arns, is here today to give us a little bit of a mind and body adjustment. Mm-hmm. And living wellness facilitator and food enthusiast, Bill Evans, is going to be cooking for us in the kitchen.
Let's give our guests a round of applause. All right. Yes, thank you to our guests. And here at Living Wellness, we are all about good news. Christina, do you have some good news for us?
Oh, yeah. Let's go behind our desk. Sit less and move more for a healthier you. A recent study uncovered a strong link between heart disease and excessive sitting. A group of cardiologists from around the world wondered about the role of a specific protein called troponin, present in high amounts during a heart attack, and apparently present in concerning amounts in individuals that sit most of the day. What's the good news, you might ask? Let me help you remember this one. The protein is called troponin, and in German, po is called butt. The findings of this study back me up as I share that the good news are to get off our butts and move. Anything that interrupts sitting and involves moving will do to lower troponin in your body and promote a healthier you. The New York Times article concludes with, focus on both less sitting and more exercise. Take the stairs, park at the outside of the parking lot, have walking or standing meetings.
All right, audience, stand up. Sit down. Stand up. Sit down. Stand up one more time. And sit down. Isn't that great? You just did some squats. Give yourselves a round of applause.
Now we get to sit again.
Yes. And our next good news segment is Cultivating Gratitude to Change for Good. A new book that's just coming out by David DeSteno on achieving goals and successfully changing bad habits states that exercising your willpower for long periods of time is to blame for causing harmful stress in people's lives. Essentially, if you have tried to change your snacking habits fueled by the power of your will alone, you might know how stressful and how unlikely you will be at creating a sustainable lifestyle. So, what is the good news? The author claims that rather than focusing on the problem zone you want to see changed, you'll be more successful if you cultivate positive social emotions around your life, such as gratitude, selflessness, and taking pride in your behavior. A grateful person is less likely to overspend, overdrink, and overeat. We'll be hearing more on successful goal setting from our guest today, personal trainer Amy Peterson.
Are you looking to participate in a living wellness growth group? Here are our upcoming growth groups.
We have George's group that meets every other Saturday morning at 10 a.m. in Maple Grove, and it is a group just for women. Donna Fennell's group will start meeting this Monday at 2:30 p.m. in Monticello.
Ashley's group, this gal here, will start in February on Monday evenings right here at the Humanity Edge studio. You can learn more about our growth groups and how to sign up on our website, lwgg.org.
Fabulous. And next, I would like to welcome our first guest. Let me read a little bit about her. Amy Peterson has been with InFit since the very start, since 2008. And if we're doing math, that's 10 years.
Oh, yeah?
10 years. Amy is a registered nurse, personal trainer, and group fitness instructor with a true passion for helping others reach their fitness goals. If you like to be surrounded by positive energy and motivation to work hard, then her training style, group exercise classes, and motivational speaking is for you. Please help me welcome up to the front, Amy Peterson.
Thank you. Thank you.
Amy, so great to have you back.
I can't believe I'm back.
And we have a
I
lot
love it.
more time for you this time.
I know, per my request. Thank you.
Here at Living Wellness, we listen.
Thank you.
Let me begin and get this very, very important first question out of the way. If you could choose, what kind of produce would you like to be?
Watermelon.
Why?
Look at my shirt. I love pink.
Okay.
How about that? Is that good?
Sweet
Okay.
and healthy.
Sweet.
Yes.
Yes, sweet and healthy is what I was going for.
Awesome. See, we understand each other. So, Amy, our topic today is goals. We want
Goals.
to chat about how we can achieve goals because we've all tried to achieve our goals, but there's a reason why it's not always working so well. So, I wanted to tell you about this little study. It was a study on college students that was done not too long ago, and they had the college students choose between a fruit salad and a chocolate cake, and it was supposed to be a taste study. So the kids were thinking we choose between these two dishes and we're going to criticize the taste. Now, in half of the kids that participated, there was a big mirror in the room, and so they were told that is from a different study as to not put a connection to that. So here we go. When the kids were all done, it turned out that not only did they choose less chocolate cake if they were in the room with the mirror, in the taste testing, they later said, the ones that did eat the chocolate cake, that there's something wrong with the chocolate cake, like it doesn't taste quite right. Now, is the solution that we just need to take more selfies? We need to have mirrors always around us in our kitchen, our living room, wherever we go? What do you think all that means? What do you make of it?
I really have no idea. I don't know. I think a lot of the times it just depends on what you grew up in. I think if you're a fruit person, you're a fruit person. If you're a chocolate person, you're a chocolate person. And you're going to go for whatever that is. Okay. And what is intrinsically in you. Is it a habit for you to eat healthy? Then it's going to be easy for you to go for that fruit. But if it's not intrinsically in you, you're trying to discipline yourself, well, maybe you just might go for that chocolate and a cake. I don't know. I'd go for the cake. But anyways...
And would you feel bad about it, seeing yourself in the mirror?
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, that's kind of, some
depends.
were saying there's a connection between seeing yourself eating something that you don't really...
That's interesting.
You know,
yeah, I guess I've never really thought about it like that.
Yeah, but you hit already on a very great point. I think that is the whole thing, finding within you
Right.
what your goals are.
What
so
your
please
goals are.
Tell me more
Well, I'm
about
super excited to be here because this is the time of year when everyone is kind of re-energized. We come right off of the holidays and everything's so busy, and now it's the time to actually reflect, kind of slow down, and you start thinking to yourself, how did 2017 go? What do I want to focus on for 2018? And are you going to be successful in being able to actually write down some goals? I read somewhere, or I saw somewhere on the news, 40% of us are going to think about goals, right? We're going to maybe write them down. But only 9% of us are actually going to fulfill those goals. Why? That just seems like I can't believe that, only 9%. And I think a lot of it has to do with the way in which you think about setting your goals. There's a process, all right? So my idea when it comes to setting your goals is, number one, you gotta write them down. How many people think about them but don't actually write them down, right? So writing down is so important when you're thinking about your goals. And also, I think the piece that people often don't think about is why. Why am I choosing to write down that goal? Why? Why is that important to me? I'll give an example. I think we'll do like a health and wellness example. Is like maybe you have a weight loss goal for this year, 2018. Oh, I'm going to lose 30 pounds. All right. Well, let's talk about why. Why is that important to you? I'll give you an example. 2006, 2007, I was a stay-at-home mom with my kids. I showed up to the fall festival at church, hadn't seen my pastor in a couple months, and she came up to me and she says, I didn't know that you were expecting. Oh my gosh, congratulations.
That sounds like my mother.
Oh.
But it wasn't.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm totally not pregnant. And the shame that I felt, the embarrassment, I was just horrified to think that someone, would think that. So I think, when you write down a weight loss goal, you have to think of why. So that was my why. Why? That's exactly why I started in 2006 was I need to get healthy. I don't want people thinking like, oh, is she pregnant? Is she not pregnant? Is she fat? Or, whatever. So that was my why. So when you're formulating your goals, that is something that you really want to reflect upon as why, because there's going to be times when your motivation, it's fleeting. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, it's fleeting. You're not 100% motivated all the time. So you got to take that motivation, you got to move into discipline, which eventually is going to make your habit. But to stay focused, for those hard times, you got to be able to look back and say, oh yeah, that's the reason why. And that's what got me 10 years later, being a part of InFit, is that was a motivating factor for me, is having my pastor tell me I look like I was pregnant. So there you go.
Can I interject here and ask a question? Now, it sounds like that was very shocking for you to...
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, that would be for everyone.
For any woman out there.
Right.
Jeez.
I think, other women need to stop asking.
Well, usually it's a social norm not to, but in
No.
that case, she just...
No,
I must have really looked like it.
Oh, my goodness. But this is in my genes.
Okay,
My
yes.
mom is, unfortunately, she is the one that would ask something. She went on her last visit here to America. And so, yes, I will work very hard on not doing that. So, I was going to ask you. Now, it sounded like that was kind of a negative thing.
Absolutely.
Like that your why was negatively, like in bad
Charged.
emotions. Yep.
But
did it
I'd have to
change?
say that it then, fired me up a little bit. It made me realize, you know what? It made me really look at it like, yeah, you know what? I am hiding behind my clothes. Yeah, I'm really not eating well. You're right. I really don't have a lot of energy, and I'm not being the best person that I want to be. So that was definitely a motivation. So for all of you that are talking or thinking about setting those goals, I think it's so important to go back and start thinking about why. Then from there, you want to set up your goals into an acronym SMART, S-M-A-R-T. So you want to start out small. Let's say you want to lose 30 pounds. All right, well, let's kind of break that down into a smaller goal. Why? Because you want to make your goals small enough so you can start building momentum, so that you have that feeling of success. Because who wants to be set up to fail, right? Oh yeah, I want to lose 30 pounds. Well, you're not going to do it in a week, all right? So let's break it down. Let's make it small. Measurable is the next one. So again, we'll relate it to weight loss. You have your goal, maybe 1 to 2 pounds a week could be a measurable goal. And how do you measure yourself? You step on the scale, then 1 to 2 pounds. All right. Did I lose it? Did I not? What? From there, it's SMA. Is it attainable? I kind of think about my husband when we were talking about our goals, and he's like, I'm going to start working out. I'm like, you are? All right. Well, then I started, kind of prodding. I'm like, well, how often are you going to start working out? I'm going to work out like 6 days a week. Really? Is my thought. I was like, okay, all right. So is that attainable? I'm like, honey, you've kind of been a couch potato for maybe 6 months. You golf every Wednesday, and that's about it. So do you think that's attainable? And he's like, yeah, you're right. Why don't we just start out small, 2 days a week, make it attainable? I think 2 days, committing to 2 days is, pretty good. Mm-hmm. So again, you want to make it attainable. Is it realistic? Again, so that's R, realistic. Is it realistic to work out 6 days a week? Well, maybe if you've been there for 3 or 4. So you got to really look at your goals like that. Is it realistic for me to do it? And then the T in SMART is a timetable. You've got to set it down. You've got to write it down. You've got to have it set in your mind the time in which you want it to be accomplished. Because it keeps you moving. You want to keep that momentum going. You want to keep that positivity going. And you don't want to have a goal that's way out there that just seems so far. You want something that's it's just going to build your momentum. So put it in a SMART goal set, and I think you're going to be a lot more accomplished, and you're not going to be that 9% that doesn't, attain their goals, like they said on the news.
What if someone's goal was, what would you say to them? I just want to learn to accept myself the way I am.
So what would you do?
Right. How would
Right.
you go about that? Is that a measurable goal?
Is it measurable? I would probably break it down just a little bit more of like why, what brought you to that point? Like, why are you saying that? Because what happened? And then maybe start out with something that, I can start out with something positive every day to say about myself. Maybe you're a negative person. So you want to start changing that and start thinking different for yourself. So again, I think it's,
Yeah. Thank you for that. I want to work on that.
Okay.
Because sometimes we want to change ourselves
Right.
so that we can love ourselves.
Absolutely. And also I think when you're planning out your goals is you have to realize that you are really the only one that's responsible for keeping yourself motivated. So you're your own coach, right? So if you were a coach, would you say terrible things to your team like, yeah, that really makes you look fat, or I knew that you weren't going to make it to the gym today. I knew that you were going to eat that pan of brownies. I mean, would you say those things to your team? No, you'd be like, hey, team, I know you dove into those brownies, but you know what? Let's get back on track. You need to start being more positive with yourself. So it's so important to have that positive self-talk. And for some people, that is really a hard thing to do. But it's something that's practiced, obviously. And you just need to focus on yourself more like that.
Yeah, sometimes it's okay to be told, you know what, this year can be, you figure out yourself. You start loving yourself because you cannot change what you don't love.
Exactly.
And from there it becomes a freedom movement, not a, I have to change so that I can be okay.
Right.
But sometimes we have to go through that journey to even discover that. We were okay. You were totally fine. You were lovable before your pastor came but you realized you wanted to take pride in your behavior, and what you were displaying wasn't that.
It wasn't the best version of myself.
Yeah.
Yes, I knew I could do better.
See, and that is so beautiful. I think that is powerful for people to, because everybody may have that thing. And it may be wellness or health related or it's something different. But if you know you can do better and you actually want to do better, setting SMART goals would be a tool to help you.
Absolutely.
Change.
You can apply this to any aspect of your life. Financial goals, family goals, spiritual goals, health and wellness. I mean, any of that can be applied. You just need to take the time. I like to think of it as taking time to just brain dump, because you have so much in your head sometimes. You're like, I got to do this and I got to do that. Oh yeah, I got to do this. I want to do this. I think it's so important to actually take the time to be quiet, number one, which is really hard for me because but actually take time to be quiet and think about, all right, what are all the things that I really want to accomplish? And I'm talking even far-fetched things. And you write it down, like, I want granite countertops. Okay, well, just write it down. It doesn't have to be done now, but start making a list of everything that's in your head that you want to do. And I mean, I have so much, but just taking the time and looking at that whole list and going around and viewing it, obviously, but also prioritizing it. Do my granite countertops that I really, really want right now really that important compared to eating 5 vegetables a day? You know, probably not. So let's put something, prioritize it for sure.
Yep. Yeah, well, I have to prioritize right now because, of course, we're out of time, sort of.
We are already?
And time flies with Amy. But here's the thing. I have 2 questions for you.
You do? Okay.
So the one is, did you ever tell your pastor what influence she had on you?
No,
that day?
gosh,
is
no.
Is she going to see the show and be like,
she's no longer at my church.
I wonder why.
I wonder. That'd be crazy. But anyways.
No Okay, but no, my last question for you today is, what is that one thing you want the audience to walk away today from what you said?
From what I said. I would just have to say that know why. Know why you're starting. Really. I mean, you write down your goal and really think about, why am I choosing this goal? Why is this important to me? And just knowing that the motivation that you have right now can be fleeting. You need to turn it into a discipline, which isn't always fun. But then from there, it can be intrinsically in you, and that's called a habit. And habits can be good. Of course, there are bad habits too. But we're really focusing on healthy habits. So please know that it is attainable. You just need to start and write it down. There you go. How about that?
So it's know your why and write it down.
Know your why, write it down.
Thank you so much, Amy.
Thanks for having me.
Amy Peterson, everybody. Yay.
Thank you.
We will be right back. We will meet with Dr. John Arns, who will adjust us a little bit. Very carefully. All right, we'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Now you get to meet Dr. John Arns. Here's a little bit about him. Dr. John Arns is the owner of Complete Chiropractic, a structural correction clinic in St. Michael, Minnesota. He received his Doctor of Chiropractic degree and Bachelor of Science in Human Biology degree from Northwestern Health Sciences University. Help me welcome Dr. John.
Like Christina was saying, I'm a structural chiropractor, so what that means is my focus is on the underlying structure and alignment of the spine and how deviations and shifts in that structure affect our body's ability to move and function normally. That being said, in the past 50 to 100 years, the human lifestyle has changed drastically. As they were talking about earlier, we sit way too much. Right, so most of us get up in the morning, a lot of times we sit down to eat breakfast. When we get in our car, we sit on the way to work.
Dr. John, do you stand and eat your breakfast?
I do not.
Okay, just checking.
I'm guilty too.
Just checking. Maybe he does something different.
So yeah, a lot of us are sitting at work and then we're sitting in our car on the way home. A lot of us are sitting down to watch TV, so too much. We also have an epidemic of what's called tech snack. So maybe you've heard of that. So people looking down at their phones too much and also sitting at computers. We're hunched over, our heads shifted forward. All these behaviors cause our spine to shift over time, which leads to muscle imbalances, muscle spasm, muscle tightness, ultimately more instability in our spines, in our bodies, which, as we all start to exercise, hopefully we've all been exercising, but makes us more prone to injury. And not only in exercise, but in the things we're doing every day. Bending over to pick stuff up, we want to have that stability so we don't pull muscles, people come in with their backs out, things like that.
Do you see people coming in the first of the year with these kind of new exercising injuries, or maybe they're changing up their routine?
Absolutely, yes. Definitely more frequent visitors as the new year begins. People kind of just jump right into different exercises.
Sure, like Amy said, her husband, 6 days a week.
Yep.
Going from 0 to 100.
Yep.
Yes. Well, you are here to show us a few exercises that can actually help prevent injury.
Absolutely.
When you're just starting out, or if you're changing up your exercise routine.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you have for us tonight?
These are stability exercises. So they're going to help counteract all those behaviors, those negative behaviors I was just talking about. And they're simple to do. You can do them anywhere, anytime, and pretty much any apparel. I'm in jeans and a polo, so not a lot of excuses there. Pretty simple. No equipment. Yeah, absolutely. No equipment required. So the first one, first of all, when we think about sitting, we're in a seated position like this. Our hip flexors here in the front are chronically tight and shortened. We're not using our glutes, our butt muscles, and we're not using our core, enough our abs. So this is a stretch of the hip flexor, but also we're going to be contracting our core and our glutes to activate those. So you're in a lunge position, which looks like this. And when we're in this position, you can just take your front foot here, and line it up with your knee that's on the ground. We don't want to be too far forward here because then we're putting a lot of stress on our ankle and on our knee. So you think 90 degrees here at the knee, 90 degrees here at the hip. And what you're going to do to start this stretch, this exercise, is you're going to contract your core and contract your glutes, your butt muscles back here. And as you do that, you should feel a good stretch in the hip flexor. And then you can, to make it more effective, lean over the knee that's up as well. Hold it.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yep. Hold it for 5 to 10 seconds.
Is it more effective when you wear heels?
Probably. I haven't tried it.
It raises my
I
calf
promise.
a little.
I have no heels. Maybe my wife. I think she has quite a few. After you do that, 5 to 10 seconds, you can switch sides. Same thing, remember?
How long should we hold our stretches?
5 to 10 seconds is what I would shoot for.
Okay.
And then you could do 5 to 10 reps on each side.
Mm-hmm.
So it's simple to remember.
So it's probably 25 to 30 seconds altogether?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely. And I try to shoot for once or twice a day, like anything in life. The more consistent you can do these things, the better results you're going to get. So just try to build it into your routine, and they're very easy to do.
And do you recommend breathing while we're stretching here?
I always recommend breathing,
All right.
yes, definitely. Never.
I was feeling a little lightheaded here holding my breath.
Deep breath in. Yeah, when you're crunching your core and your glutes, sometimes you can forget to breathe. So remember to breathe, definitely. The next one we're going to do is called a bird dog exercise. So we're going to be in a quadruped position is what it's called. What that means, we're just like this, with our hands underneath our shoulders, and our knees are going to be directly under our hips. What we're going to do to start this exercise is bring our legs straight up and point our toes straight back, really activating the glutes here, the butt muscle, and the opposite arm's going to extend outward. And you hold that for 5, 10 seconds, whatever you're capable of doing, really.
What if I tip over?
If you tip over, did you make it a second? That's a good start.
Okay, all right.
Try again.
Okay.
5 to 10 seconds, then you switch sides. Same thing, remember, keep your hands underneath your shoulders is the big thing. Don't want the hands out here too far in. You're really going to stress the wrists. And then pointing the leg
So
out
why are
and
we
up.
doing this again? What is this for?
This is for, we're going to activate our glutes. It's also going to strengthen our core and actually our low back muscles as well. So remember, we're in a seated position and our hip flexors are tight and shortened. We're also, our hips here will shift back and we lose that normal structural alignment in our lower back. We lose that normal healthy curve that we should have. Actually straightens out. So we're helping to counteract, again, all those negative effects of behaviors we do every day. Really, all of us are guilty. So
Yeah, so we did a hip flexor stretch and a bird dog. Is that right? Bird dog
exercise it's called.
Okay.
Yep.
Great. And so what is one thing that you want everyone to know, one thing that's just burning as they either start their routine or as they change up their routine in this new year? What's one health suggestion, in addition to the 2 stretches, just a suggestion?
Kind of a suggestion.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is just staying consistent with something, and like Amy said, you kind of set these lofty goals, and you can see the destination, but you really don't have a strategic plan to get there. So break it down into baby steps, and then, like I was saying earlier, consistency. And don't get discouraged when it doesn't happen. We're all guilty. Not every day is perfect. So when you are aware of that, you're like, oh, no, I didn't do it today. Get back on it the next day. There's no harm in that. We're all guilty. I'm guilty. So
Start fresh.
absolutely.
Start every day. It can be a January 1st.
Yep, you bet.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, John.
Thanks
Please
for having me.
give a round of applause for Dr. John Arns.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and when we come back, you'll get to meet our next guest, chef in the kitchen and living wellness facilitator, Bill Evans. I can't wait to see what you've been cooking up in the kitchen, Bill. It smells good, and we'll see you soon. Welcome back to the show. We are so excited to introduce our next guest, Bill Evans. Bill is currently an instructor at Minnesota State Community and Technical College in Wadena, Minnesota, where he teaches mostly human anatomy and physiology, as well as medical microbiology. That's a mouthful. For future healthcare professionals. Bill holds a Bachelor of Science in Biology, a Master's in Cellular Biology and Anatomy, and also an associate's degree in registered nursing. Please help me welcome Bill Evans.
Let's get to know him better in the kitchen.
You know, with all of those degrees, Bill, I kind of expect like the liquid nitrogen, and it should look like a little laboratory. But when you were cooking, it was a little laboratory.
It was a little bit more of a laboratory then, but definitely I'm very cautious about food safety. So
Yes,
I am going to glove up before we start on the
All
fish
right.
part here. So
That's good. He's got gloves on. I do too, but mine are invisible.
yeah. So
I just washed my hands.
Well, thank you for having me here today. I really appreciate this opportunity. It's awesome to be able to share some pretty cool recipes with you.
Thanks, Bill.
So the first one that we're going to do is a whitefish fajita stuffed pepper. This is really good. It's something that can be done ahead of time if you want. I did all of the basic cooking last night and then stuffed the peppers this morning. So they're in the oven and getting very close to temperature now. That's another thing I do. I keep track of temperatures. So
Well, with all those biology degrees, I would imagine.
Exactly,
Yes.
right, yeah. So let's start with the fish, first of all. So tonight what we're going to be doing is working with the walleye. So this is a walleye that has been filleted. And I always like to make sure that the skin is off. You're going to want to have that off. But I can't stand to chew on bones. So where do you really need to look for bones? You always want to look right in this little middle part right here. So generally what I do is just take the fillet knife and just kind of do a nice little cut right through there. So then when you go ahead and take the skin off, that little part comes out with it. So I'm pretty cautious about bones and keeping those out of the food. So the next part that we do then is after the fish has been filleted, just kind of rinse it off, pat it dry, and then we're going to cover it with these fabulous spices.
Those look good.
Yeah, they are. They're fantastic. Chili powder, onion powder, garlic, cumin, red pepper, and black pepper. So that's going to give it a really nice fajita style taste. So just kind of gently pressing that into the fish. Then the fish goes into the oven with a little bit of lemon. You can kind of follow the recipe. I think that's online, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Our blog post will feature Bill's recipes, lwgg.org. So if you want his recipes, the printable versions, it'll be up this weekend on Sunday.
Fabulous. So anyway, so you take that and then you're just going to just gently press in the spices. Put that in the oven with the lemon and bake it at 350 for about 20 to 25 minutes. Once you're finished with that, the fish comes out of the oven, and I just have to check for bones again because it's like, no, I can't do this.
Well,
so
let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Now that you don't have the sharp knives in your hand, I
Okay.
will ask you a math question. So how many bones are usually in a fish, and should we count and keep track?
you should not count them. You'll be there a long time. So I wouldn't worry about how many bones that are in there because we're going to remove them all before we get to the eating part.
Okay.
But last night when I was picking through, I probably found about 10 or 15 extra bones, even after the flaying part. So you always want to check. So you do a nice little flaking, flake the fish. Right here, get it a little
But
bit more flaky
You
than
flake that all before you put it in the stuff.
after the oven. Yep, so it comes out of the oven, it's cooked, fully cooked now, it flakes apart real easy, very easy to see the bones. Now we're going to combine that with the saute mix, which I already have pre-sauteed over here. That's going to be some olive oil, garlic, then we add in some onion, and then we put the tomato and avocado. Mix that up. Yeah, that does smell good,
Smells
doesn't
really
it?
good.
Yeah.
Smell the garlic.
Getting hungry.
So then once we combine that with our mixture here, combine the fish with the mixture, then we're ready to stuff the pepper. So the peppers, we use organic peppers, and I've topped the pepper, cut the top off, cleaned it out, hollowed it out, and then just stuffed the pepper full back into a container and into the oven. And you have a couple different options here. If you do this the night before, what I did with the peppers is I went ahead and blanched them for about 2 to 3 minutes.
What is blanching?
That is, put them in boiling water, okay? Then we pull them out, put them in some very cold ice water for about 3 or 4 more minutes. So that way it's nearly cooked. So when you come and you have the pepper already stuffed, you're pretty much ready to go. You just have to bring everything to temperature. So that's what I did, and now you can smell it. So should I pull one out quick?
Yes.
All right.
Let's do. We'd love to see
These
that.
are getting really close to being done.
Now, Bill, did you learn anything about cooking in the army?
I learned how to eat MREs. That's about the farthest thing from cooking.
Is that a little water and then it's poof like a 7-course meal?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I learned to really enjoy the good cooked food. So let's go ahead and show this to the camera.
Yes, please do.
And now you'll probably start to smell
wow.
this.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's the mixture stuffed in the peppers.
Exactly.
And that's what
This
we're going to get to
reminds me
sample?
of my mother,
Yes.
but just this time in a good way.
Oh, yes.
We're not quite finished yet. So then, after we take the peppers out of the oven, we'll want to top with a little bit of picante sauce. And we have some homemade picante sauce, so that's what you'll be sampling tonight. So that's going to be our pepper. But what good is a nice dinner without a dessert?
Ooh, tell
right?
us more.
So we
Say
have
more,
to
Bill.
work more.
More.
So the dessert that we have for you here is what I call Grandpa's apples. It's what our grandkids ended up calling my wife and I, Grandpa and Grandma apples, because we have apple trees. So we
Did
love
these apples come from your apple trees?
these apples. Yes, they did. They came from the trees. This one is
thank you.
store-bought just for demonstration. Yep, but the other ones were grown at our house. So Grandpa and Grandma's apples, that's what you're getting. So what we'd like to do is take just one nice organic apple. And does anybody have an apple peeler core slicer? Oh, fabulous. Isn't that great? That's like my favorite kitchen tool. Outside, I like a pickaxe. That's my favorite tool outside. Digging
Do you
rocks
cook
out.
with your pickaxe?
I do not.
Okay.
So anyway, the apple peeler core slicer is fabulous. You just run the apple through, and that's going to peel it, core it, and slice it. So then we just take and quarter the apple, and from there, we're going to put the apple in about a size of a pan about this big right here. We've added a half a tablespoon of butter, put the apple pieces in, sprinkle in the cinnamon, raisins, and we cover the top with a little bit of honey. Yeah, that's really good. See, I like the sweet. I like the fat. My wife was asking, why do you put the butter in there? You have to have some fat, right? Okay.
Absorb the vitamin D in the ingredients.
Absolutely. So that's got the fat. It's got some sweetness. It has the apples, so we get a lot of variety there. So this is going to bake as well at 350 degrees for about 25 minutes. Then we pull it out, cover the top with some pecans. And what I learned from you in Living Wellness is that you have options.
My wife and I have been talking about there has to be a way to make some food that tastes good, that's actually good for you. So we were kind of on a journey already. And our pastor's wife ended up bringing us a book one of the mornings that we were actually talking about this, because she had met you at a ladies event and said, you got to do this. So it was perfect timing. We were searching, and we found the organization that we felt like could help move our community forward. Yeah.
Great. That sounds like awesome. Yes. Yeah, good timing.
We are so excited to try your food. So please give Bill a round of applause. And we'll be back with that food. So we will be right back.
Welcome back to our show. It's always exciting here at Living Wellness. Goodness gracious, that was our show. Well, what do you think, Christina?
Whoa! When I just dropped all my stars, I was like, whoa! But besides that, what really stood
Out for me today was I love to cook healthy, but I just am not crafty enough to take the time to put something nice together. But what Bill was putting together there looked very manageable. So I will have to make a commitment, write it down, and make a stuffed pepper just because it's really tasty, sounding, smelling, and my husband is deserving of.
He is. Yes. And I will keep you accountable by checking next week to see if you've made some stuff ever. Yes. I think my takeaway was that just start. Just start. You know, when I have a goal, not to wait for a Monday or a January 1st or just start. So I will take that away and do my SMART goals, and every day will be a new day.
Well, thank you again to you all for being here. Thanks for tuning in Facebook Live, and for our guests. Thank you, guests. left to do.